Hey guys, I am back, and I just wanted to do, because I'm bored, uh, a movie review for the movie Dahmer. And there's going to be spoilers in this. I'm going to put that in the title, so if you have not seen it, then don't watch. But as of right now, it's still available on YouTube. You just type in like Dahmer full movie. Um, it looks like it's been up for a little bit, so I don't know. But you know how movies are touch and go on YouTube, where like sometimes they get flagged down and for copyright. And other channels just legitimately have them up because they're the rightful corporation that owns them. Like another good site besides YouTube is BitChute, to find movies. And I have an interest in serial killers. I kind of always have. They intrigue me. And I went through a phase in my life when my mother first passed away, especially a little bit before that, but mostly when she passed away. I started to write to people on death row in prisons, and a couple of them wrote back. And one I got pretty close to. He used to call me all the time. I'm not going to say who any of these people were, just because I don't want to put that out there right now. Um, excuse me. My allergies are acting up because it's like spring, and I always start getting postnasal drip and coughing. But yeah, I used to write to these guys, and like I said, one of them, would call me all the time, and he liked talking to me. I mean, he paid for the phone calls because, as you know, phone calls from jail aren't free. Like he would use his own money that he would get from his what's it called, like commissary or whatever, and or whatever it is. Like they get money from people. I know he had a few girls that would send him money that kind of were into him and stuff like that. But he would call, like talk to me for like an hour, sometimes hour and a half, and it's just it was weird because it became like especially with him, it became so normal to talk to him. Like he would call, and besides it saying, you have a call from, a penitentiary, press 1 to accept the call. It was like I was talking to any friend on the phone. Like I forgot that he killed like 4 people. And even though death row in that particular state, like he's on death row, but they eliminated the death penalty. So he's not going to be put to death. It's just now like life in prison, but he's on death row. So, and then there's I think it's called like access connections, where you can email back and forth. Of course, the prison guard people read it first, and then that gets forwarded on to like a kiosk where he could read, the emails. So we started emailing back and forth, phone calls and stuff, and then I eventually cut it off just because I started to feel weird. Actually, I saw one of the one of the victims, um, one of the people that he had killed. Her sister was talking on the news, and she was talking about like these messed up people that support him, and my sister's dead, and it kind of got to me. I mean, that wasn't the only thing, but eventually I just ended up like just I stopped answering the phone. Emailed a few times saying that I was going through some personal stuff, and just I kind of just phased it out. You know, um, One person in Texas who I used to talk to, he's been executed. He's dead. Um, Another person was in jail for manslaughter, and he's been released, but that was like a long time ago. Like I just that was only like 2 letters. Um, but anyway, yeah. So that I just have a weird dark interest in things sometimes. I don't know why, but really quick before we get into this whole Dahmer movie, which again will have spoilers. If you could, please donate. The links are in the description below. Even $1 will help. I need my entire mouth basically reconstructed. Like I have bone loss, and I have to have extractions, and I have to have implants to prevent more bone loss once that's built back up. It's going to be a long, painful process, and I've mentioned in other videos, the grand total will be around $34,000 on the cheaper end. To have it done properly, and I'm not going to Costa Rica or Mexico to have it done because I have anxiety issues and I have a hard time just in my own local area. So that would really, really help me. And plus, I live in a motel, and I've talked before, my finances are a mess. Like, just everything's a mess. Like I'm barely making any ends meet with things, and So yes, it'd be greatly appreciated. And people who do happen to donate, if I actually ever do get a donation, I'll give a shout out, in each video. I'll go through any donation that I get and just say, oh, thank you. I won't give your full name or anything, so don't worry about that. Okay, so the other day I was watching the Dahmer movie, and so it's been a few days, so I might not remember certain things, but I liked it as a movie. And if you guys have watched it, you know what I'm talking about. Like as a movie, it's okay, but they never get into the fact that he was eating people. I mean, that's why he was called like the cannibal killer and stuff like that. It just shows the murders and, of course, different sex scenes in gay clubs of men that he was drugging. That's the other thing too, is a lot of it's fictionalized. Like they have things in there that just never happened, or that we could never possibly know what would happen. One thing that's popping in my mind right now, so I'll just jump to this part, is any of you guys who watch this, the guy Reggie who was trying to sell him the knife at the shop he was at, and his he was kind of like working there for his cousin or his brother or something. And then he came back, and Dahmer had said, why don't you come back to my apartment, have a few drinks? And he's like, okay, cool. It was like a kind of like a flamey black guy. And so eventually this guy, I think his name was Reggie, goes back to Dahmer's apartment, and Dahmer does not have enough pills to crush up to knock him out in his drink like he usually does, but he only gives him like 1.5 pills. And so Reggie never goes unconscious. He gets tipsy with what he's drinking, with the pills mixed in, but it's not enough to put him out like with the other people in the movie. And this scene goes on for quite a while. There's like flashbacks, back and forth. But what was interesting is when Reggie finally does go to leave, Dahmer grabs him and throws him on the couch, and the guy Reggie grabs a knife and holds it, and so Dahmer, lets him go. And so he's like, "What's wrong with you?" and everything, and he leaves. So now Reggie's gone, and you would think, "Oh, okay, wow, he got away." And ultimately, he does in this movie. But the thing is, he comes back. And when he comes back, the part that I just thought was so unrealistic and corny, because if someone had thrown me on a couch, held me down, I had to use a knife to get away from them, I would not be coming back to the apartment. He comes back and says, "Oh, that there's no bus at this time. I think you should get me a taxi." And Dahmer's like, "I don't want to get you a taxi." He's like, "But you can stay here." And so Reggie does. He comes back in. So now Reggie goes on this whole thing of, "I think you find me attractive. I think that you like me. I think that you want to be with me." And all this stuff. And Dahmer's like, "No, I don't." And Reggie's like, "I think you do." And Reggie's like acting, excuse me, like seductively and everything, and telling Dahmer like, "Oh no, I think you are into me." And he even gropes him once. And so then Reggie goes to Dahmer's bedroom, as you remember, and he opens the door, and Dahmer finally gets up, because what Reggie's not seeing, because the door is behind him, he has not gone into the room, is there's an Asian guy dead on the bed. One of the first murders that we see in the movie. And so he goes to Reggie, and he's now, face to face with him. And Reggie's still all into this, you kind of, you want me and everything like that. And Dahmer takes his belt and puts it around his neck like he's being playful. And Reggie's kind of like, laughing and like touching him. And then Dahmer takes the belt and pulls it, really, really tight. And he stops right as Reggie collapses to the floor. And then Reggie gets up and punches him in the face and says, basically, "What's wrong with you?" And Reggie leaves. So he doesn't actually kill him. But I'm just thinking like that's just, while it was a good story time and everything, sorry if you can hear people outside. I'm in a motel, so But there's that. The part I guess that grossed me out the most about the movie, if you remember, is when I was talking about the dead Asian guy on the bed. Because earlier in the movie, he had knocked him out completely with pills and took a drill and drilled into his head, like about this far with a very thin drill. And then he goes to work at a chocolate factory, Dahmer does, because that's where he works. And during this time, this guy regains consciousness. He's not dead. And he wanders in his underwear down the street. Eventually, Dahmer finds him because he's out of work, and the police literally give him back to Dahmer, which something very similar happened in real life with him because the police did get back an Asian guy to him, which he later killed. And then, but the scene that grossed me out is when he takes the knife that he had bought from that shop and cuts him open like on his stomach area and then sticks his hand all the way in. I kind of looked away from that part because I do not like blood. I'm one of those people who can pass out from blood, and and even though it's fake, I just that was something I wasn't too interested in seeing. But I've watched, and I'm sure you guys have too, possibly anyway, watched some of the documentaries on YouTube about Jeffrey Dahmer, and it's just the movie is not really a good match, for what the actual killings were. But as it stands alone, the movie's a good movie. There was a part where I felt not empathetic. That's the wrong word, but an understanding of why Jeffrey Dahmer would be so crazy. Like if that scene with his father, like, oh, isn't that my wooden box? And open the box. Like he was just like, I don't know, like maybe it just reminded me of my own childhood where my father would just carry on for no reason and always thought I was doing something shady. Now, granted, like he was doing something shady because Dahmer had like a head in the box. But it was just, and he also like had a, like Dahmer had a mannequin in his closet and his father thought it was weird that he had a mannequin. Well, I don't know, like people buy stuff like that. People buy mannequins, they buy those large knights in armor and all that stuff. But he kept saying, well, why is it dressed up? Why does it have clothes on? I mean, like mannequins have clothes on, dude. Like, I don't know. Like his father just seemed really weird. Now I know from the documentaries, like his father's like, oh, I always thought something was wrong with him and everything. But, you know, I don't know. Like, what did you guys think? Like, comment down below. Like, what did you think of the movie? I know, like, I'm not exactly like crystal clear on everything in it. Like I said, it was a few days ago. I was really tired when I watched it, but it was worth watching. So if you haven't, and you can still find it on YouTube whenever you see this video, check it out. Or of course, it's probably on Netflix or Amazon Prime or something. Um, but yeah, I mean, it was good. I didn't find that it moved slow. I didn't like the ending. Like, the ending, his father takes him to like AA, and he doesn't go, and then like he climbs over a wall and just walks away into the woods. Now, this is where the movie ends, and it's like, oh, Jeffrey Dahmer was, sentenced, and then he was killed by this guy in jail, like all the stuff that we already know. But there was really no, like you would think in the movie that it would have got to the part where he was arrested, how he got caught, at least that. But it didn't. Just had him like walking off into nothingness, where if you didn't know anything about the story or that it was even a true story, that he just got away or left his father and walked away. So that part was kind of like a bad ending to me. Um, but yeah, anyway. So hopefully you guys have a good day. I will be back again. Please donate if you can, and please subscribe because I need 1,000 subscriptions to even begin to stream off my phone, which would be a nice feature, for me to have as I try to figure out, more of what I'm going to do, with this channel. All right, and so if you do donate, thank you so much. And again, I will give you a shout out, and I will see you all later on. Just gotta exit out of this. Bye.